Welcome
Fitbit.
to One Cool Thing. This is PC Mag's daily show on Facebook where we show you one cool thing, or in today's case, two cool things that we are testing out in the PC Mag labs. I am Sasha Segan. This is Victoria Song. And this is the Fitbit Flyer, a pair of brand new, we just learned about them today, headphones from Fitbit, along with
the Fitbit Ionic, Fitbit's first official smartwatch.
Whoa! So of course we have Social Pete here on the con, here to answer your questions about, well, pretty much anything. So ask us if you have any questions about pretty much anything. But let's get to the gadgets. Now, first of all, Victoria, these, before we get to like the specs and details of these things, you actually went through physical torment to be able to review these products, right?
Yes, I did. So last week, Fitbit had an exclusive press event in Montauk. They invited a couple of journalists and analysts out there. I took the bullet for this team.
Montauk, for those of you who are not from the New York area, is a beach resort about 3 hours east of New York City.
Yes, so I trekked out to Montauk. They gave us the lowdown on the Ionic and the Flyer. We got to test them out in real-life exercise torment situations. I don't know if you know this. I am not the fittest person in the world.
And you're a fitness reviewer.
Yeah.
Isn't that ironic?
Well, you know, I'm not bad. It's just like, you know, I'm more like the average person testing these things, which I think is valuable because, you know, if you just only have super-duper fit people reviewing these things, then the normal person's just like, well, I don't care if it only, like, has ridiculous metrics or not. I just want it to see if it does my steps or whatever. So in any case, I did a 4-mile run with this thing and that thing. 4 miles, which is more than a 5K, which is the beginner level of running. And I also did an intense pool workout.
I heard that you crawled along the bottom of a pool, weighted down until you nearly drowned.
Well, yeah, basically. So it was a cool experience. You had like these two 20-pound weights, and you sink to the bottom of the pool, and you kind of gator crawl across the bottom of the pool. Then you come up for air. In my case, they were like, try doing it without coming up for air, and I was like, haha, no. So I came up for air, and then you come back down, and then you crawl back. And you're not using your legs, so you're just at the bottom of the pool, and you're
What was the mortality rate for the journalists on this trip?
It was mostly everyone came out okay. Everyone knew what their limits were. But I was sore until Friday. So I went on Monday and Tuesday, and it wasn't until like Saturday that I felt zero pain.
Oh man.
So I was in like I lost 3 pounds.
Wow.
I lost 3 pounds from that event.
Wow.
So it was pretty insane.
So, okay, so what are these devices that were worth going through torment for? Let's start with the watch, because it's on your wrist.
Let's start with the watch. So, like, as you might have gathered from my pool workout, this is a waterproof, fitness-oriented smartwatch. It retails at $299.95, which is pretty competitively priced when you think about high-end fitness smartwatches.
Garmin's.
It's about Garmin's. It's about the same as the Huawei Watch 2, which is an Android Wear watch, and it's cheaper than the Apple Watch, which is about $360.
Doesn't the Apple Watch Series 1 start at $269 or somewhere around there?
Somewhere around there, but it's not waterproof.
There we go.
So in addition to being waterproof, this it does everything like tracking your steps and all those metrics, but it also has NFC. So if I press this button here, you can see my handy-dandy NFC payment thing pop up.
And is that Android Pay? Is that some Fitbit Pay?
It's Fitbit Pay. It's called Fitbit Pay. So that'll be through them. This is going to have their own OS. You know, Fitbit bought Pebble last year, and we're going to see the benefits of that because
Can we run the Pebble apps?
No, but it does use Pebble's love of Open SDK. So this will have an Open SDK, which launches in September. App developers will be able to create their own apps and clock faces for it. So like they've adopted that part of the Pebble onto here. Also, what's really interesting is that the LED system for the continuous heart rate monitoring is going to be different from your typical fitness-oriented tracker. Normally, you're used to the green lights at the end of it, but what we can see here is that there are 2 red LEDs and a blue LED here, and what Fitbit says is that this will be used to track relative SpO2 or oxygenation levels in your blood. And in the future, like there's nothing that's going to come out with it at launch that we know of, but in the future, you may be able to diagnose sleep apnea and other medical use cases with the Ionic. So that's really interesting to see if and how they'll use that in the future.
So there are no third-party apps for it yet, but what non-fitness tracking applications does it have on it now?
So on it now, they do have a partnership with Pandora. If you are a Plus or Premium subscriber, you will be able to listen to your Pandora playlists on your I didn't set it up, but you will be able to listen to it on there. They do have a weather app, a Starbucks. Not yet.
No messaging.
Well, it does have push notifications.
Okay.
So, you know, anything that you get on your phone, you can have it pushed to the smartwatch.
Okay,
so
okay.
There's that, and then, you know, Starbucks has a partnership, so you'll be able to pay for your Starbucks morning cup of joe.
Does it have a microphone or a speaker in it?
No.
Okay.
So this is not going to be, this isn't going to be able to make calls on its own like you can. It's not a truly standalone smartwatch. And if you think of something like a smartwatch, like the Apple Watch, like I would consider that a smartwatch first and a fitness tracker second. This is sort of like an inverse where it's very fitness oriented. You're going to be able to do everything that you can with a fitness tracker with this, and it has a huge advantage over many smartwatches, and that's battery life. So it's estimated at 4 days of battery life.
That's pretty good.
And so far I've gotten 5 days out of it.
Oh, wow.
So.
How about that band? Is it removable?
Yes, it is. It is modular. This is actually not the standard band that comes with it. This is the fancy leather perforated thing. It'll go for $60, but it's very easy. It's modular. You can take it off. Unlike the Blaze, it's very similar to the Blaze in terms of like screen size, but unlike the Blaze, you have the whole case in with it. It's not just like going to pop out and.
No, yeah, let's talk about the Blaze. So people are saying this is Fitbit's first smartwatch, but of course Fitbit has had devices that have at least looked like smartwatches before. That's the Blaze. What makes this Fitbit's first smartwatch versus the existing smartwatch-shaped Fitbit?
So the Blaze didn't really have apps of its own. Fitbit's going to be launching with an app gallery, and it's going to have its own app ecosystem. Ideally, if developers get on board with it. So like. The UI so far right now, it's not terribly Android. I don't think it's like Android Wear, but you can basically have your own screens that you can customize. You can choose your own clock faces. That's much more smartwatch-like than the Blaze. I really think it's about the app ecosystem. It's about being able to pay for things with it with NFC. It's about that sort of thing.
Okay. Do we have any questions out there before we move on to the headphones?
So do you feel like this would compete pretty well with the Apple Watch then?
We're going to have to see what apps launch with it. Well, we already have Pandora and Starbucks and a couple of apps launching with it. The SDK is coming out about a month before this is available. You can pre-order this now, but it's going to be dropping in October. So between when the SDK launches and when the product launches and what they have available in the app gallery, that'll make a big a dent in it. The price is pretty competitive, but if you think about the battery life, and that's really key for me, 5 days, I got 5 days of battery life on this thing, even though it's estimated for 4. It's going to have 10 hours with GPS, because GPS is built in. That's pretty competitive. Like the Apple Watch, you can't really track sleep with that. You can track sleep with this in detail. So if you're health-oriented and you want something that can really hold up as a fitness tracker, but have some extra added smartwatch capability, this is very promising.
Yeah, there's a lot of Apple Watch use cases that this just isn't going to cover. For instance, I know a lot of people who use their Apple Watches heavily for airline boarding passes.
Right.
Or for messaging their friends who have Apple Watches.
Yeah.
And that sort of stuff. That's not going to be this device. This device is still a Fitbit.
Yes, it's still a Fitbit because, you know, that's what Fitbit's strengths are, being a Fitbit.
Right.
But if you're trying to choose between a smartwatch and a fitness tracker, you kind of possibly don't have to anymore because this will do all of that.
So now, how are these a Fitbit and not a Backbeat Pro?
Well, so basically the reason why these two things are launching at the same time is that the Fitbit Flyer, which is just flying through the air right now.
Okay.
The Fitbit Flyer, which is just flying through the air right now, it does link up with the Ionic.
Okay.
So you can pair these together and get audio cue workouts, because you do get like video guided workouts from the Fitbit Ionic. These things are kind of meant to pair together, although in actuality, you could just use any Bluetooth headphone with the Ionic. These are what they call fitness, designed for fitness. They are sweat-proof. They're coated with a hydrophobic coating. So if you get rained on because you're an outdoor runner, you'll be fine. They're pretty durable.
Do they have any tracking capabilities as a standalone product?
No, they don't. They don't. And I think that's partly, this is my speculation here, I think that's because they want you to use these with the Ionic. And if you use it with the Ionic, there's no point in putting a heartbeat tracker
There are
these.
fitness tracking earbuds on the market, right?
Yes, there are. I actually use the Jabra Sport Elite Sport, the Jabra Elite Sport, when I go running, just as an added layer of heart rate monitoring. Yep. So there are those available, but if you are using those, you probably don't want to use a wrist version. So I think they just strategically decided not to put that on there.
So how's the sound quality and how's the comfort?
Surprisingly good sound quality. I took it on the run because I am not a person who can be motivated to run unless I have thudding EDM beats in my ear. I need that beat to keep on going because I just want to stop. But yeah, so it does have a mode where if you press both the top and bottom buttons, that's called Power Boost, which will boost up the bass. In reality, it's very subtle. It's very subtle, noticeable, but very subtle. The fit is pretty secure, and it comes with, like most headphones, it comes with a bunch of modular bits. Like this comes off, and you can choose different ear tips and different whatevers to get it to fit in your ear.
Does it support aptX or any of the lossless Bluetooth formats?
I don't believe so, but one of the interesting things that this can do is it can pair with multiple devices at once. So you can pair it with your watch and you can pair it with your phone.
A lot of current Bluetooth headphones do that. My beloved Plantronics over-the-ear Bluetooth headphones do that.
Yeah, so at the very least, it can do what a lot of other things are doing. But it will enable you to have a phone-free run if you use it with the Ionic, because this has built-in GPS. It has 2.5 gigabytes of storage for music.
So it stores music.
It stores music, and it can stream Pandora. It can like download Pandora playlists if you have them. So, you don't actually need your phone for a run.
I think a lot of people are going to be wanting things like Spotify or Google Play Music on that thing.
I definitely would want Spotify. I'm a Spotify user. I'm not exactly a Pandora user. We'll see what kind of apps Fitbit can really get onto the Ionic. But the Flyer, they're pretty stylish. They're basically a stylish pair of fitness headphones. $129.95.
Looks like we have some questions out there.
When are both of these products coming out?
They are both slated for October. We don't have a specific release date yet, but you can pre-order them now.
And can you go through the prices again?
So this is $129.95, and this is $299.95. So together, that's probably going to be $430, which is pretty hefty. We'll see if they come out with a handy-dandy bundle package. Just saying, that might be useful, but yeah. I do think that if you just want a pair of workout headphones that you don't need to have like tracking on, these are pretty solid. The sound quality is pretty good.
Yeah, but we'll review them and we'll compare them to the other sweat-proof headphones, which I think we have a whole bunch of workout headphone reviews.
We definitely
out there,
have a bunch of workout headphones. When I used it on the 4-mile run, it was pretty good. It handled my neck sweat with aplomb.
Oh.
Yeah, I was real sweaty. It was 85 degrees.
That's
running to the beach.
That's moist.
It was very moist.
Okay.
It was fine.
Do we have any more questions out there? Great. So before we start sweating under these hot studio lights, we have previews of the Fitbit Ionic and the Fitbit Flyer up on PCMag.com. There are no full reviews because we are about 2 months out from these products being released, so there are going to be firmware upgrades, hardware upgrades, various, sandings off of rough edges, and we will, of course, review these when they launch. Thank you all for watching. This has been PC Mag's One Cool Thing. We will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. and we're running out of here.
Running out. Swimming out.